here I am in one of my favorite spots in all of North America, western New Mexico. Sitting on these BLM lands, all these mesas, canyons, mountains, foothills. It's just some of the most remarkable country that we have. And I don't even have the tag this year. I'm here with our sweepstakes winner, Sean Flannery. We ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, let's go find an elk. And Sean won the sweepstakes, the win a hunt with Randy sweepstakes, where we tell everybody, hey, our partners are going to give you this big gear kit and we're going to take you on an elk hunt somewhere.
It was kind of just a random thing that I filled out, which I never do, and thought it was a joke when I won. So it was kind of a surprise.
And Sean has his 11-year-old son, Kerrig.
Having my kid come on my first elk hunt was great. It was a lot of fun. I always take one kid at least hunting with me, so it's a good time. I think Kerrig does really good with the hiking and with the camping part and with everything else. Sitting and glassing is the hard part for him because he's got to sit still.
So we go right there and we find him right over the other side. Ain't nothing to this elk hunting stuff, let me tell you.
The sitting and glassing part was boring, but you're gonna be excited if you see something. So it's not that boring.
Well, we came up to my favorite glassing spot, and there were a group of guys up here already. They're like, yeah, we've been watching your videos. And I'm like, hey, you guys beat me to the spot. You know, if this is where you guys want to hang out and hunt, it's yours. We'll go find some other place. Well, we're gonna sit here in this shade and glass all these ridges, because what happens is after they feed and water, they come up into these canyons and in bed for the day. They look for some shade. And there's a bull with about 20 cows. We saw one herd of elk far, far, far away. I mean, like way far away. And even though there's very little private land here, there's a strip of private land about 2 or 3 miles long and about a half mile wide. Except that you'd have to figure out how you got across that in order to get to where those elk are. They come down that canyon and they decide to keep coming this way. They'll either come up this canyon or that canyon. Today. Ho, ho, ho. Here we are. Every year that you come to a spot, you never know how it's going to be. Is it going to be like the last time you were there? Is it going to be like the same conditions, somebody who might have given you a hunting report that you got in touch with? You never know. All right. You guys ready?
We're ready.
Good to know. And my biggest worry is that New Mexico was in the midst of a 2-year drought. Fortunately, New Mexico did get a heavy monsoon in July and August. And so we do have some grass that's actually here, some forage and feed that elk could take advantage of. The downside is, since then, there's been virtually no rain since then, so it's really dried up. Well, that's the story from our first day of scouting. I was hoping we'd see some elk in here this evening. We saw one group this morning over here further west, but right now, nothing to report this afternoon. But I think we're gonna be back here in the morning, and the old saying, see what we can see.
How'd your day go?
Good.
Saw some elk, and hopefully we'll see them tomorrow when we get here in the morning.
So that night after the scouting day, I'm thinking to myself, oh darn, I was hoping Sean would have seen a bull that was in the general area that we could get to and get his enthusiasm up, but he was just smiling and like, don't worry about that, we'll find him.
Well, it's opening morning. We're about ready to get going. But I jinxed us by saying, I never run into any hunters back there. There's camp up there, and last night when we came out, a camp had set up even between us and the trailhead. And now this morning, a group of ATVs came in. So I'm thinking there are 3 other groups in here besides us. And it's not that big of an area.
It's a risk-reward decision when we decide to come into places like this. And if you run into a whole bunch of other hunters, then it's even more of a risk because you don't know if there's, quote unquote, enough room for everybody to spread out.
Getting ready. Breakfast with champions. Dressed, warmed up. Coffee. What you carried?
Sean has been hunting, he's been shooting for years and years and years. He took up hunting a few years ago. He's not taken an elk.
I got some friends that have given me a hard time about hunting a few times and never getting anything, and they're gonna eat their words, is what I think.
So it'd be great fun if we could help Sean get his first elk. Got the sun at our back. Got all these basins and drainages to glass. We're gonna cover a lot of country today with glassing up here. And then it'll warm up, and then the elk will go to their beds. And we'll try to find one on his way to his bed. And then, once we find him and bed him, we'll go shoot him. Pretty easy, huh? Looking, and looking. And finally we find a herd of elk with a bull in it, way over to the east. Not sure if this is the same group as yesterday, but there's a big batch of them out there. I'm gonna come this way because we can't go straight. We'd have to make a big loop up that way and then around. We're probably talking a 6-mile trek to loop around the private. I have hiked all the way around that property and done those canyons before. It is such a long haul. And those canyons are a lot steeper than they look. All we need for them is to cross that and come this way. Save us a 6-mile hike. And we stayed here till noon and kept looking, hoping. Never saw any more elk. Well, we spent the morning out here, what I thought was the surefire spot. But it turned out to be a dud. And we're gonna go hike into another spot where Uncle Mike actually shot a bull 2 years ago. That horny toad. Catch them out here all the time. Usually they're bigger than this guy. I'm gonna put him in the shade here where nothing will get him. There he goes. Going to find his hole. completely bright, no cloud cover, and the elk are trying to get some shade. There's these cliff walls there, and they go tuck up against those cliff walls, and they'll sit there for most of the day, and then about 5 o'clock they get up on their feet and they start moseying around. We're gonna go up here, set up the glass. Carrie, don't fall off.
Okay.
You won't catch them near the edge of
And
anything.
watch out for cactus.
Yeah.
Zero. Man, it's good looking country, and a lot of it. It's almost every sunset is so beautiful, it just fills you with optimism that tomorrow is going to be the day. We found some mule deer. We found 2 groups of elk way over across on the other side of that private. Sean told K-Rig that $200 if he could find a bull elk. So I found a bull about 2 miles out, 3 miles over there across that private property. I told K-Rig, go tell your dad you found one, give him your $200. Of the 2 groups of cows we saw this morning, one of them might have had a young spike bull with them. And the group yesterday had a small bull with them. So the mature bulls have peeled off. They're in their solo period right now. They're gonna be trying to recoup from the rut. They're looking for sanctuaries, get away from people. They're gonna be solo. Well, we've glassed until our eyes hurt. Now the sun is high and our lips are getting burnt. And we've had a unanimous vote that let's get the heck out of here. We've been in here the scouting day, we've been in here opening day, we've been in here this morning. And in spite of me having seen lots of bulls in these canyons before, they're not here right now. I was thinking to myself, this isn't like it normally is around here. We're gonna shake it up a little bit. We're gonna go out to this spot where my Uncle Mike 2 years ago shot a bull right out there. We aren't even to the glassing spot, and I look, there's a bull up feeding straight away from us. Oh, that's a bull. 700 yards. See him right there. So we're gonna leave all of our stuff here. We're gonna go on a track here. We gotta go down this really ugly face. It's cliff and it's like, you know, hands and all 4. We'll just call it that. But I think I can help Kara get down there, and you come down, Jonathan will come down, and then let's make a beeline over to where maybe we can get up above this bull. And the bull's over here in the shade feeding, and I want to stay over here both for the wind and for any visibility, because you never want to skyline yourself. And I'd mark this little notch on the cliff face where I thought he was. We're a bit at a decision point. way down. Or if you want to go along this rim, the danger with going along the rim is we're lower. And if he gets into those trees, we may not see him. Let's go. Okay.
I anticipated the hardest part being the hiking, and that was the hardest part by far.
My legs are on fire. It's a nice 5 point. Heavy. You see how heavy that thing is at the bases? For a 5 point, he's really heavy. Just kept peeking over. Peeking over. Peeking over. He's got to be around here somewhere unless he just kept feeding away from us around the end of that knob. I told them, you guys wait here, I'll go make a big loop. I'll see if he's out there in the flats off the end of the knob. And you would think having a high promontory like that where you can look in so many places, that we would have to see him. He was feeding that way, he must have got into the trees, so we're gonna have to go up to this next point. See if we can get an angle on him. I thought for sure, if nothing else, I'd see him out in those big flats of scattered pinyon and juniper, but before too long, I'm gonna do a bunch of cow calls. If he's bedded, he'll stand up. Okay. But once he stands up, he knows exactly where we are. So he's gonna look up. So you gotta be ready with your rifle. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what happened to that bull. He just somehow disappeared.
I don't see him going into hiding.
If we were over glassing from that other knob, we'd see exactly what he did today. But the benefit of that evening was it raised my spirits because it's like, all right, there are still some elk around here. We'd encountered a group of guys from Oregon. One of them had a tag. It was a whole family group. We saw that they had a bull laying next to their camper. The beauty of that was it left my favorite glassing spot unoccupied now because they had been there every morning. And since they were there the first morning, I'm like, you know what, till you guys are done, we'll go hunt somewhere else. Let's go out on day 3. Let's get to that knob and let's see if we can locate any different elk. I'm looking, and I see a group of elk out there. I'm like, get down, get down. And I get looking, and there's a 4-point bull. I'd like them to feed up here. They're either gonna feed up in this notch, or they're gonna feed right below us. They're gonna get closer. The downside is, once the sun comes up, we're naked, right? And get closer here. What would be good is if they bed right in that little crotch right there, which they often do. And then around the hill comes a really, really nice 6-point bull. I mean, a very nice bull, and I'm like, oh, John, look in the spotter. Look at this guy. No, this is a great big one. He's bigger than the one from last night. Stay as low as you can. We just want to make sure they don't see us up here on the skyline. Well, unknown to me and out of sight, like we're up on this lip here looking out this way, and this ridge just rolls really hard. I can't see all the way down there. There's another 8 or 10 cows right down below us. And that's where our downhill morning thermal is going to. And they smelled it. And they go trotting over to this group, and they form one big group, and off they go.
There's 20 cows and 2 bulls. They're nothing down. They're just hunting. That's bad luck.
And they covered probably 3 miles before I lost sight of them. Just how it goes. Welcome to public land elk hunting. It's never as easy as you want to think it is. Cross our fingers that they just buried into that next canyon. And if they're in there, well, sun is up high. It's getting closer to 11 o'clock. No sense in laying out here baking in the lava rocks. We're gonna go back to camp and do the normal routine. Came back to camp and I told Sean, I said, look, I've never been to the far end of this place, but let's go in there. A bunch of canyons come together. It's where those elk disappeared this morning, and maybe they didn't keep going. Maybe they decided to bed down in one of those canyons. We got private over here about a mile. I want to give us a buffer and see if they're in here. Sat there all night glassing and all we saw was a few mule deer.
3 mule deer. It's so warm, I don't know if the elk are up and moving yet.
I'm thinking to myself, Randy, you know, that you knew this was a roll of the dice. It's only a 5-day season in New Mexico. Why would you spend an afternoon on such a crapshoot?
Not looking good. We got about 20 minutes left. There's a canyon there, canyon here, canyon over there, and a canyon there, and a canyon here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 canyons all come together right here. And a lot of times these bulls will walk up those canyons and just bed in a shaded place.
Visions of that nice 6-point were still dancing in my head. And I was hoping we could locate them. But we didn't.
Sorry, Sean, I thought maybe we'd see where they went to. Yeah. You ready to back up and start moving? Yeah, might as well. I think someone's gonna stand up a little already. Yeah. If they were coming out, they would have been out an hour ago. Yeah.
I'm laying in my tent thinking about the weather forecast that we're supposed to have winds. You know, it could easily be over 50 miles an hour. And by 9 o'clock in the morning, those winds are going to be screaming. But let's get out. Let's get moving now. Let's get out on that point and see what might be out there. By the time we got to the trailhead and started walking in, the wind had started to pick up. And those of you who hunt elk or pretty much any animal for that matter, you know that if you can find some steep hillsides and the wind's coming this way, the animals like to tuck in there. And you're over here, it carries your scent, and it doesn't carry your scent way out there, it carries it and it goes like that. So let's just sneak our way in and glass and glass and glass, and so we do that.
We'll just set up in front of these trees to break the wind. There's no sense in putting ourselves out in the wind. I'm gonna just go peek over here, I'll peek over there.
I look, I'm like, something looks out of place over there. And I've glassed that spot over there so many times, I can kind of tell if something's out of place. Sure enough, there's a bull standing there, doing his thing, just feeding, kind of in one of these little pockets that I would call a perfect sanctuary.
Where we saw that 5x5 the other night. There's a bull standing right in that same opening. Yeah, I gotta hurry and get my spotter on him before he gets in the trees and before the sun angle it gets worse.
And I show Sean the bull in the spotting scope, and I'm like, what do you think of that one? He's like, I like that one, let's go. My theory is I never go and stalk an elk that's on his feet unless he's almost in range.
Okay.
As far away stuff like this bull's 2 miles away.
Right.
I wait until they bed down, mark it on my go hunt map, and off I go. The good part about where this bull was is he wasn't 100 yards from where my Uncle Mike had killed the bull 2 years ago. So I knew the path in there. I knew what the wind did when I got over there. I wanted to sit there and bed that bull for a little bit longer and just make sure he didn't go anywhere. But we had a huge thunderstorm coming. Well, we've watched this bull for over 2 hours. He's not moved more than 50 yards a few times we have seen him get up. So I think he's in his bed for a good part of the day. I haven't seen him now for almost a half hour. And the temperature had already dropped down into the 50s, and I thought, you know, if we all get wet out here in this 40, 50 mile an hour wind, this is gonna be absolute misery. So I made the decision that rather than sit on this bull longer, let's get to the truck before it starts raining. Let's go to camp, let's wait out this storm, and then we'll go check on him this afternoon. Well, we're probably gonna wait out this moisture event that's coming our way. Waited. I kept looking at the weather forecast. Finally, it said about noon the weather should break. Let's drive over there and see what we can find. And maybe that bull is still in there. On windy days, they usually don't move a long distance. The wind will blow us really fast on the way there. We get to the end of the first hump, and I'm glass, and I'm like, I don't see him out there. But we're here. Let's drop down this steep face again, and let's go up to the second hump. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. You were born ready, weren't you? And we'll keep peeking over and keep peeking over and looking and looking and looking. And so we do that, and about the third time I'm on my hands and knees, I'm looking in these trees right down below me. And over to my left, something catches my eye. And I look, and here's that bull bedded half in the shade, half in the sun. And what caught my eye is he turned his head, and I caught that glimmer of sun bouncing off his antler. And I told Sean, I said, get on him, he's standing up.
Just wait till it gives you a broadside shot. You ready? Jonathan, you ready?
I got grass. Yeah, I got him.
All right, whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready, Sean. Shoot him again. You got him. Great shot. Perfect. He's gonna go down. There he goes.
He's down. It was absolutely Perfect shot. Empty it. He's dead. He's completely dead. I know when an elk rolls down a steep cliff like that, the game's over. When I said he was right here and he was looking at us, I knew we had to get with it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rush you, but
No.
he had looked over here as you guys were coming. I'm like,
He knew something was up.
he's a nice bull. And I turned back and Carrick had stayed back behind a little ways. And I gave him kind of a thumbs up and he was just like a great big smile.
Carricky, get over here. You see him? Having a decent sized elk being my first animal was the best first animal you could get. Got him one shot, so very happy. Carrick's happy too, right?
I just happened to luck out. I don't want to say this is a skill. I happened to be glassing this little opening 2 miles away when a bull fed into there. Now, I could have been spending, 10 minutes glassing all this other terrain. But in that one little time I was there, he was there.
Hey, looks like a lot of meat.
We got a lot of work ahead of us.
Good work. It's great having all the elk meat. I'll probably use some of the stuff for making jerky and the rest will be roast and stuff like that.
There's one thing I suspect that Sean thought when we walked down to that bull is, whoa, these are a lot bigger in the body than I thought they were. But I'm lucky, I've done a ton of these. And I tell every guest hunter, I don't care if it's a family, I don't care if it's a friend, a sweepstakes winner. Now look, I don't get to pull the trigger, but will you please let me do what we call the gutting and gilling?
The public land, it's nice to see there are places that do hold a lot of animals and it's not horrible to get to. And it's nice to see there's good areas out there that aren't crowded with people.
I'm blessed to get to do this all the time. And if I never shoot another elk, I've shot more than my share. And I hope that I have more days helping and watching other people have that joy of getting their first elk or second elk or whatever it is than getting my own elk. There you go.
Good deal. Thank you so much.
As Uncle Larry would say, don't thank me, thank God I did it. Sean, Carrick, I can't thank you guys enough for your positive attitude and your daily smiles. Thank you, buddy. Nice to meet you. You're a great guy. Enjoyed spending camp with you. Enjoyed you sharing your Chips Ahoy's with me. Those are the kind of people you want to spend camp with.